Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I want the truth!
Why don't you answer him?
Welcome to another episode of Objection, Your Fiction. Lee and Raquel are here, and we're really excited to have with us today Teddy Coluca. Teddy plays the beloved doorman Lester on the widely acclaimed hit series Only Murders in the Building. I think it's once again nominated for an Emmy this year. Is that right? I see Teddy nodding his head, so I think I was accurate in that statement.
I wanted to make sure my Screen Actors Guild Award was in reach.
It's an audio podcast, so you can show it, and
We have a few props here we can get.
So, well, Teddy, thanks so much for joining us today. Lots to talk about. But first, big picture, I guess. Talk us through how you got this role, how you prepared for it, what led to being a part of this great show.
Well, I can tell you how I got it. I did an episode of Mrs. Maisel a few years back with the director named Jamie Babbitt, who was directing the pilot of Murders, and she's directed quite a few episodes every season. And Jamie actually just called me, not Jamie, but she called my agent and said, would I be interested in reading for this show? And initially I read to play Teddy Demas, who is Nathan Lane, but they obviously Lane. So, but then they asked me to read for the doorman, and a quick thing, really throw in, since you asked how I got it. When I met John Hoffman, I said to him, we have this little theater company where I live out here in New Jersey, where I've spent a lot, like my last 10 years doing theater before COVID, because I just, I didn't have to go into the city anymore unless it was really worth it. But we had a little theater company that we did what we wanted to do. In 2019, I brought them Steve Martin's play called The Underpants, and not knowing 2 years later I would be reading for Steve Martin's new show. And when I met John Hoffman, I said, I don't know if this means anything, but I did Steve's play The Underpants, a couple of years ago, and John Hoffman said, Steve loves that. Yes. So doing that play in my little town in Jersey here was what closed the door on me getting the job for Murders in the Building.
How did you look, I think anybody who asks about your performance in the show would say, when I think New York City doorman, I think Lester, right? Like you somehow you fit like the past, present, and future of New York City doorman. You kind of like perfectly encapsulate it. Was there anything you did in particular? Anybody you studied? Drew from your own experiences? How did you get?
Well, really, I come from a blue collar background. I originally I live in New Jersey now, but I was born in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and there's a lot of Williamsburg still in me. And no, I just pretty much, I played all blue collar characters for the most part. The joke I used to say years ago is I think I wore a tie once, when I worked. But Lester always wore a tie.
Yeah.
But no, and you talk about preparing or this or that. When I got the job, I just thought I would basically be, opening doors and saying, have a good day, and how was your day, and things like that. I never realized it was going to evolve into what it evolved into.
Yeah. When did you first start to realize that? I mean, looking back now, I don't know whether or not they plan. I'm going to do a spoiler-free show up until the end of this episode, and then we'll tell people spoilers for who haven't seen the last season of Only Murders in the Building. But looking backwards, it feels almost like the first 4 seasons they were slowly building up your character with like little moments here and there that I'm guessing are going to pay off next season in many ways based on the ending of this past season. So when did you begin to realize, okay, it's a little bit more than opening buildings, and they're fleshing out like a fully formed character slowly over the course of
slowly. So well, the first time I think if I go back and think about it, I don't know if I thought about it then, was when I had an episode where I had to learn a little bit of sign language to speak to Theo. So that was one thing that I kind of said, This is interesting." And first of all, I had to learn whatever I had to learn. I forget what it was, but that was one thing. But I guess it really started that I realized they're really writing for me was end of season 2. I had a really good episode where this, I think her name was Nina, the character. She had just had a baby, and she was the head of
Yeah.
a condo board. I had a really nice scene with her. There's a couple of scenes where she wanted to get rid of the doorman, and then we sort of, at the end of that conversation, or at the end of that segment scene, she basically said, "Well, maybe we do need the doorman around here." And because she realized that, and I realized a lot. She had told me about my life that and that's really the first time I realized I had a wife. She
Yeah.
talked about my wife and my kids and stuff. So I guess that was the first episode, and then the finale of that season, when we were accusing Tina Fey at first of being the murderer, and they really put me in that group, and we find out that Lester studied to be an actor, and then he had some problems where and this was really the only job he could get. Um, and we find out, I'm not giving anything away, but we find out in season 5 that Lester's been there 32 years. Um, so can't tell you too much about season 5, and I don't want to. But yeah, go on. I mean, that's when I sort of really realized it. At the end of season 2.
Yeah. There's a lot of jokes throughout the series about you constantly letting the murderers into the building. I guess the flip side of that is that doormen in New York City kind of know everything, right? Like they're not supposed to share everything because each person has their own little secrets in their apartment, but they really are, they're the gatekeeper, and they know a lot. And you, I guess your character had 32 years of institutional knowledge of this building. Is that something that you talked about at all or thought about? I'm kind of the gatekeeper of the secrets of this building, and I have a certain responsibility in that regard. Is that a thought that crossed your mind as you were kind of figuring out how to play the character, how to play scenes?
Well, I did realize early on that the building was his whole life, and as much as one point he says to, as a matter of fact, that same scene where I do the um the sign language with Theo, I actually say I hate these people, and but he doesn't hate these people. He loves these people, and we find out as this season goes on how much he does love these people. And but no, I I don't know if that's answering your question, but no, no, I just always played the character as that this was his life, and 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 this is where he was going to be forever. And
I was to say, I think what you said makes sense. Like, you know, when you know people really well, you know the good about them, you know about the bad about them. There are going to be complicated feelings there, for better or worse. A doorman in New York knows everything about everybody, or a lot about everybody. And so you like the good stuff, you dislike the bad stuff. You're seeing the whole picture of humanity.
it's true. I mean, and again, we do learn that what we do learn in season 5 too. We learn even more about Lester because um, we see who trained him, and I'm not giving anything away. The world knows. We will see young Lester in season 5,
Okay.
and we learn quite a bit about what Lester was, what he was involved with, how long he's been involved, and how he got involved. And maybe Lester had no other choice than to do what he had to do to keep his job and to grow his life, let's say.
Yeah. You're doing a good tease for season 5.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm gonna give it. I'm not giving anything away.
no, you're doing a great job teasing it. I have bigger picture about the show. Um, the show tackles a lot of subject matter. It's part police procedural. Obviously, there's the buddy comedy aspect of it. It is, uh, I guess, in many ways, lampooning true crime podcasts. So that it's doing a lot of different things. How was there like I'm looking at this more from like the legal perspective for a second. Was there an effort to kind of try to make the police procedure or the legal investigation side of the show like as realistic as possible? It's a comedy, so that's not like necessarily the most important thing, but like what steps were taken to try to kind of make it as true to life as possible while still being really funny?
That's really hard for me to answer because, first of all, I don't see every script. We only see the scripts that we're in. I don't know how much that. Yeah, I mean, we do have that detective who's also. I mean, she plays it hard, but it's like you said, it's a comedy.
Yeah.
I'm sure, just knowing the producers, they wanted to make sure everything was done right. Now, maybe I'm not the right character to ask that question to, or I think John Hoffman may be the one you have to get for that.
You can call him on the phone right now and ask him.
He's great. Well, I'm not that. I don't even know if he's around. But I don't know about the whole legal. And I get this is a legal show. I understand why you're asking the question, but from my character's standpoint, we really, never even thought about something to that effect. Maybe a little now in the season coming, but not before that.
Raquel, what do you think? Because you're more of a true crime aficionado than I am. So you I think you are, right? You listen to true crime podcasts, watch true crime stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's also like goes more in line of what's like taking over social media at the time. But I think, and I was talking to Anna, who reached out to you, Teddy, before about how meta the show has become, with like the first season being the actual like mystery, and the second season being the podcast, and the third season being the play, and so on. So it's funny to see. I like it from the point of view of like the comedy aspect, also of like seeing how things just snowball and turn on itself, and like how crazy it could become. So it keeps me wondering, like, with season five, it's like what's going to be like the running joke for the next season, or if it's just going to be about the murder mystery and Lester's backstory.
Well, there's definitely a backstory. And the backstory goes back more than 32 years. So that's one thing.
Did you get them to shoot in Williamsburg at all?
Never shot in Williamsburg. No, no, unfortunately. But
Probably a
that's
very different Williamsburg now than the Williamsburg that you grew up in.
much different, right? However, the characters that I had to deal with in the show this season, meaning mainly just one character who I was really involved with, and I'm not going to give any more than that away, was a lot like the guys I saw in the neighborhood growing up on the block. I mean, I grew up on a block where we knew who the mob guy was. It was like a city within itself. I mean, and we knew when the cops were on the block. Like we knew they used to say, like, you know, everybody's father where I grew up was sort of involved in not mob stuff, but they played the numbers and they, stuff like that. So you'd hear the bookies, because there were quite a few bookies on one block, believe it or not. You'd hear them saying something like, "Bulls are on the block." Like, somebody said, you say, "What are the bulls are on the block?" What's that? That means the plainclothes cops are walking around on the block. Yeah, not the guys in squad cars, the detective. They were the bulls. Having to deal with sort of this element this year really took me back to Brooklyn when I was a kid, and what I saw, and what I didn't do anything bad, but I can tell you this much: when I was a kid, I was probably about, I left there when I was 13, so I was probably about 8 years old, maybe, or 9 years old, not even, maybe 7, where uh, again we knew who all the bookies were, and this one guy lived in the next building. We were in tenements, and he lived in the next building, and he'd say to me, he'd say, "Teddy, come here, go next door in building 605. Under the radiator, there'll be something there. All right, just grab it, put it in your pocket, and bring it to me." And I'd go there, and I'd go into the radiator, and there would be an envelope. with 500 rubber bands around. I mean, rubber bands everywhere. And it was basically the guy who dropped off the numbers just, and I'm passing him off to the bookie. And that's all it was. It wasn't drugs or anything. It was the numbers. And he'd give me $1 every time I did it. Yeah. So, it was, I was a kid. It was like 1959, $1. I bought ice cream for, and whatever I wanted.
Yeah, it sounds like the Bronx Tale. It's like a scene from a Bronx Tale.
Easy, very much, very much. And this guy's name was Ninuch. So take it for what it's worth,
Most of our clients are named Nanuch, so well, it sounds like at least you for the coming season you kind of drew on some of your experiences from childhood. Do you think that, like, I mean, you obviously grew up in New York City, grew up in Williamsburg. I asked you about like the preparing for the role, getting ready for the role. Do you think that, like, even subconsciously you drew on some of like your New York City experience and becoming Lester and taking on the role of Lester? Is that I mean, that's just infused in you already, but do you think
exactly? I'm New York I'm as New York as you can get. I would go in and audition for things years ago, and they said to me, "Can you be a little less more New York?" And I said, "A little less more." What the hell does that mean? I mean, so I really, like you. I did fit the role. I mean, I played. I have to be honest with you, and I'm always going to be honest with you. No one in New York played more cabbies than me in TV or hot dog men in TV and film in the last 40 years. No one played more cabbies than me. And real quick, my kid went to school. He studied acting at Rutgers, and every week when he was a senior, they would bring a different casting person in to talk to the students. And they brought this one casting guy in one time, and they asked all the kids their names, and my son says, Ted Coluca. The same name as me. And, about 5 minutes later, the guy comes back to him and says, "What's your name again?" He said, "Ted Coluca." He said, "Ted Coluca, Teddy Coluca." He says, "There's an actor named Teddy Coluca." He says, my son says, "That's my father." He says to the rest of the class, "This kid's father plays more cabbies and hot dog men than anybody in New York." So it's true. I did. And I made a living and 4 kids, 8 grandkids, and it's all good.
what's the most memorable cabbie role that you had?
Oh, memorable cabbie role that I've had. Let me think about. I did a Spider-Man. I was a cabbie in one of the Spider-Mans. Spider-Man. Yeah.
The Sam Raimi ones, not or the newer ones.
The newer ones. The
Okay.
ones with Andrew Garfield. What's her name in the back? The blonde girl, nice girl. Emma Stone. Emma Stone. Yeah. And Emma Stone in the back. Yeah. A memorable cabbie. I played a cabbie once that the director never shot me. It was a commercial with Lin Miranda, and the director never shot me. And he was a British director, and it was not too much. I don't know, right, 2016. It was when Hamilton was running, and he never shot me, and it was really annoying because it's hard to get these commercials, when you get them, So, and when we're shooting it, they're shooting him in the back, but the director's he's on the camera now, and I'm driving the cab. But he's leaning on me where I got to drive down the West Side Highway. What the bit was, I pick him up up in the Heights where he was from, in Miranda, and I drop him off in front of the theater at on 44th, wherever it was, 44th Street. And really, it was really difficult driving that thing, and they never even shot me, so I was going to be cut out of the whole thing. And then the guy who brings the cabs for the commercial said to me, he said, "You know what? I was watching what they were doing with you," because he was in the van with clients. He said, "I was watching what they were doing with you." He said, "And you should be a precision driver, like a stunt driver. You should be a precision driver on this." And he said, "You should, put it on your contract on the bottom, precision driver." I did that on my agent. I told them we were going to do. And again, they never shot me. You never saw my face. I don't even think you saw any part of me. Oh, so I got a call 2 days later. They said, "Yeah, we're sorry. We didn't shoot you. You're a precision driver. you're gonna get everything you got coming. And what I'm gonna is I made $75,000 on that car.
Wow.
I never saw him. Yeah, and I got another quick cabby thing because this ties in with the show.
I need to look into precision driving.
Yes, it's yeah. The problem is we're not doing that many commercials in New York anymore. It's not like it used to be. Believe me.
Podcast right now and try to find some precision.
I did, yeah. But here's another good one. This is a good one. And it ties in with the show. They did a movie years ago called Music of the Heart. Music of the Heart, but and Meryl Streep was a star in it. Wes Craven, if you remember, the horror director, he was the director of this movie.
Mayor on Elm Street.
Oh yeah, all those horror movies. Yeah, a lot of horror movies. I don't know what other ones, but anyway, it was Wes Craven. So I'm gonna do this scene with Meryl Streep, and pretty cool, and Meryl Streep. So I go to the job. I go to shoot the show, and Meryl Streep's not there. So I had they shot me, but they shot me with Wes Craven in the back playing Meryl Streep.
I don't want to think about that.
No, I didn't. Anyway, so what happens then when Meryl Streep is available, they shoot Meryl Streep. So if you watch the movie, you see me and you see Meryl Streep. It's like we're there together. Now the funny thing was, now 25 years later, I get to meet Meryl Streep, and I said, I have to tell you, we did a movie together. She goes, really? Which one? And I said, it was this movie where I was the cabbie and you were in the back, but we never shot together. And she said, oh, I hated that movie. She said to me. Anyway, there's another cabbie story, but yeah, I can probably think of more, but I did a lot more commercials. So I did a lot of commercials early on.
Was this your first doorman role?
Was this my first doorman role? Think so. Oh no, I'm lying. I played a doorman in a TV show. I can't even remember the name of it.
We could jump on IMDb after and take a look.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's a bit where I say, I don't even think you see me as a doorman, but we ended up doing this bit where this woman plays a photographer, and she was actually a writer, I think. But it ends up I almost had a nude scene because the bit is that she took some photos of another doorman, and but she was taking pictures for our badges. But I say to her, you took pictures of him, like what's wrong with me? And then it ends up the bit is that I got dry cleaning in front of me, and I'm basically in my hat, and I use it on my reel. I have used it on my older reel, but I did play a doorman before. But I played everything. I mean, everything, every blue collar job you can probably think of, I've done it.
Precision nude scene is
Precision doorman. Yes. Yes.
So, you mentioned before that Lester knew all the good, all the bad about everybody. You think who, from the character's perspective, do you think he really would have disliked in the building over the last 4 seasons? Who would have been?
I talked about that with my wife this morning, and I think knowing what he knew about everybody in the building, he didn't like Teddy Demas. He did not like Nathan Lane because he knew Nathan Lane was into a lot of nonsense, and as we know on the show, he was into a lot of nonsense, and that was who I came up with. I couldn't think of anybody else. I mean, Bunny, I love Uma. I mean, it was really nobody else that I had any conflict with. And you do, I mean, I guess because of what happened to Lester, we do see really this season the relationship he's had with everyone, especially all the main characters.
What do you think he would have had a favorite? I remember you could kind of suss out when I was living in different apartments, like who the doorman really loved, who they wanted to talk to, who they didn't necessarily want to talk to. Do you think he had a favorite resident, or spread his love pretty evenly?
I think he liked Selena more than anybody because he saw her grow up.
Yeah.
As we'll see in season 5. He saw her from the day she walked into the building. And which he probably did all of them, but she came in as a kid. you know, and that's a nice. You see a couple of nice little moments this season with the little young Selena. You know, I think the kid that's playing her is probably around 9 or 10 years old, maybe.
Yeah. Well, let's do spoilers real quick. So for anybody who has not seen the end of season 4 of Only Murders in the Building, press pause, come back to this after you watch the finale. This is now a spoiler zone. Teddy, I see you putting your finger up.
I'm just saying if they really watch the show, they should know. However, I don't know if you saw the trailer that came out last week. A new trailer came out last week, and we definitely see Lester in a. We know what happened to Lester if you watch the trailer.
Yeah. Well, I was actually behind, so I caught up to
Okay.
preparation for this, so I would not have known. So I wanted to make sure people know. Don't listen to
Hey,
any
it's your show.
so, I think people were very surprised. I'm not sure there's been a death so far where people were quite so shocked by who they were kind of misdirecting you to make you think that Meryl Streep was going to die at the end of the episode, right? That's the misdirection in the finale. But instead they just fly her off to New Zealand, so she doesn't necessarily have to be in a whole nother season. What was your reaction when you found out that Lester was going to be the victim at the end of season 4?
It's funny you say. I can tell you when I found out. I summertime when the weather gets nice. I live out in New Jersey. I like to go to the park and watch the high school play. You know, baseball. I'll go watch it. You know, afternoons. My wife says, "Don't you have a game to go watch?" Like just to get me out of here. You know. So I was there. I was watching a ball game, and the script came up on my phone. Let me see if because you always look. Where am I? Where. And all I look for is the word Lester. You know, because it stands out. That's good. I'm here. That's good. Or look at this. I'm here too. That's good. And then finally, I get to the end of the script, and it's like, what? you know, Lester is in the fountain, and I looked around, and there was nobody I could tell. I mean, and I called my wife real quick. I said, "I'm the bad guy next year," which we got a kick out of. However, no, I would say I told nobody. Not my kids, my
No.
grandkids. Only my wife and my agent were the only two people in my know that aren't connected with the show. What happened to me?
Right.
Because as you were getting to there, no one expected it.
Yeah.
No one expected it. And even to this day, I'll get a text from somebody. The other day when the trailer came out, I can't tell you how many people said, "Oh no, I can't believe they killed you." But I think it was a great thing for the show. It was a really good thing for me. When people say, "Oh, you got killed, too bad." No, no. It's the best show in the world to get killed on. Trust me, because I did more next season than I did probably the other 4 seasons before, and I mean, I'm a little older to you know be happy about this, but it definitely puts me in a different category now too. But
You're with Jane Lynch
me
now.
and Jane Lynch and Paul Rudd.
I'm Paul Rudd, right?
Yeah.
You're in the Mount Rushmore of Only Murders victims at this point.
I think I'm the trivia answer. In other words, boom, boom, boom. I'm pretty. Even Jane. I can't never say her name. I guess it's Honeysuckle or whatever her name. She's a Broadway star. She's a Tony Award winner. You know what I mean? So even she, is somebody that is in certain places very famous. Not everybody knows who she is, but she played Bunny, so she got killed at the end of season 2. Yeah.
If you had to pick murder victim or murderer in season 5, what would your choice have been?
Definitely murder victim, because if you think about it, can you think off the top of your head who the murderers were? I mean, all right, and how many of them actually came back again after they murdered someone? I mean, the only person I think came back was, what's it, Amy Ryan. Amy Ryan came back, the bassoon player, whatever she played. But the mother and son who killed Paul Rudd, I don't think we've ever seen them again. And I'm trying to think of who killed, and the nice girl who killed Bunny, Tina Fey's assistant. I don't think we've ever seen her again afterwards. So we've seen every person killed come back in a flashback.
Yeah.
Bunny came back in a flashback. Tim Kono makes an appearance next season in a flashback. Jane has made numerous appearances,
Right.
in flashbacks, and Paul Rudd came back as his Irish brother or something, if you remember.
Do you trust the three main stars to, well, they're obviously going to solve a murder because that's what the show's about, but so no spoiler there. I think we'll probably figure out who did it. If you
Not that easy. I'm going to tell you, it's not that easy. Let me tell you, I didn't know who it was until around episode 8. I didn't know because I didn't see the script, and they don't tell you, but and I thought it was someone else. There's a lot that goes on next season, but there's also something I'll tell you where I still could be connected with the show even after my demise, and I'm gonna leave that hanging for you, and when you see it, you'll say, "Oh, that's what he meant by that." So.
got a twin brother thing coming up.
My wife asked John Hoffman at the wrap party. She said, any chance he's got a twin brother coming? And she said the same thing. No, it's not that. I can tell you, it's definitely not that. But I like leaving you hanging like this, saying, "What the hell do you mean? What the hell do you mean by that?"
Well, you're definitely leaving us hanging. Well, we're probably going to learn a little bit about Lester's secrets over the course of the next season and his background. Before you got to season 5, did you think Lester had any of his own secrets, any of his own mysteries, or was he more concerned with just being the best door person you could be?
We find that Lester definitely had secrets. He definitely had secrets. I have to tell you, I can't tell you I thought about him because I didn't know I had them either until I saw them on the page.
Those are the best secrets to have, the ones that you don't know you have. So that worked out well for you.
Right. So it did work out well for me. I mean, character, I don't know, it just evolved. And the only hint I had that something was coming, but I didn't know what it was. And I didn't even think it was meaning me being the victim. Right after the writer's strike, John Hoffman, I guess I wrote him a note or something, and then he wrote me back and he said, "We're back in the writer's room and Lester is on our mind." That's all he said.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what that meant until I pretty much read on the page that I was going to be the next victim. Yeah. And truthfully, I really didn't know who was the murderer this coming season until I saw it basically on the page.
Don't tell us that. We want to be surprised about
I'm not
that.
telling you. I'm telling you. So think about how surprised you'll be if I was surprised. I want to show you some things. I want to show you something. Look, what you get. You get a hat when you're on Murders in the Building. Let's see. You get hats. This is good. I thought this would be funny to do. Hats. Your Murders in the Building speaker. You need that. Your Murders in the Building blanket is big. Your Murders in the Building jacket that they give you is a big one.
Members only murders.
Yeah, no, it's Carhartt. It's good. This is the board game, Murders Only in the Building board game. And wait, this is a good one. This is this year. I got this just recently. This is Murders in the Building. They put out a puzzle every couple of years. And this is only Murders in the Building puzzle for this year. And what this is and I didn't even know what the hell it was, but this thing is a copy of all the notes that Lester kept over the years. So Lester had, and if you look at it, you can see almost my face in there a little bit if you look at it, Yeah. And that's what and it's called Lester the Doorman's Collage. So we have merch that they sent us, so it's all good. It's all good.
They only give that to you once they kill you off. Before that,
No, every year they send it. My wife has a bathrobe in there that Selena sent us, and and I should have pulled that out too. And they're very good like that. Really, every year they're just so giving. It's the best show I ever worked on with the best people. Nobody's a jerk, and I mean nobody.
And if
Even
they are, you could just get rid of them pretty easily. So
even the guest stars that come in, I mean, it's amazing. I mean, just how cool these people are.
yeah, you could definitely see the warmth that kind of suffuses the production, and the fact that you have like really high profile guest stars come on for like 5-minute cameos pretty routinely, I think underscores that people just kind of want to be part of the fun and be part of the family atmosphere there, and you can kind of tell that's happening while you're watching the show. So
Yeah, and real quick, I mean, it's like when I met um, Meryl. It was like we were at the rap party. I didn't do any scenes with her that first season when she was here, and I think the only thing I did with her was the wedding. But she came to the rap party and she just walked in the door, and I said, "Hi, I'm Teddy. I play Lester." She goes, "I know who you are." So I mean, just like that. I mean, and she knows who I am because she watched season 1 and 2 before she came on season 2. Not that she knew who I was. I had to tell her we did a movie together 25 years ago.
she's like you're Wes Craven, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, people should definitely watch the last season and the coming season of the show if they want to see anything else that you're up to. Teddy, where can are you on social media? Are you
I'm a big Facebook guy. I don't understand Instagram at all. I mean, I have granddaughters that try to help me with it, but it's just not good. But I'm out there, and I'm doing this little I play Yogi Berra on stage.
so cool?
And yeah, and I haven't I did it a while back, but we're sort of bringing it back again. So the one man show, but it's really a one man play.
Okay, so it's not about his time at the Mets or the Yankees. It's like it's just him talking about his life. Is that right?
It's set in 1999. He's come back to Yankee Stadium after he hasn't been there for 14 years.
Oh, wow.
Because he had a fight with George Steinbrenner. And yeah, and basically that's a story that he goes into the years that he was with the Yankees when he was younger, about his family and his kids growing up, and it's a fun play, and I'm just wondering if I can memorize it again because I did it the first time I did it was in 2008, and I was a little young to play Yogi then at this stage of his life. Now I'm perfect. So a friend of mine has a theater, and we're going to do a reading of it, and then possibly we'll do a production next year.
Well, rally the troops to come out and see it once you.
I will let you know. I will get the word out there. Facebook friend me, and then I put everything on Facebook these days. But really, this is an honor. I really appreciate you guys doing this. It's
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We're looking forward to the season, and hopefully we can connect on something else in the future.
I'll be here. All right. Thanks so much, both of you.
Thank you.
Take care. Have a good one.
For more on all things real estate and the law, subscribe to this and our other podcasts. Follow Bergstein, Flynn, Knowlton, and Polina on social media. Subscribe to our newsletter and go to bfklawoffice.com. That's bfklawoffice.com to learn more.